from Healthy Thoughts Wellness Center, but I am at home at my home office. I just wanted to jump on today. I was really hoping that Pete could join me today, and I tried to share with him or invite him as a host, and for some reason it did not work out. So if any of you have any tips of what might have went wrong there, please put them in the comments below. All right, so he was going to talk about 8 signs that your relationship might be going wrong. Boy, do I have some things to comment about that. I think I could name about 30 just from personal experience, but I'm not going to do that today. We're going to wait, and Pete and I will do that one separate. So today I thought that I would just jump on and share with you some of the knowledge that I have recently learned. Now, some of you may know that Pete and I just launched our first online course. It is called Find Your Zen, and it's level 1 of meditation. We have gathered information by working with another larger company that does 3 things. They do their own research, they search for relevant research, and they write on relevant wellness topics. All right. So it is all science-based, research-based things that we have in our online teachings. And I will put a link below, or you can scroll down and you can be able to find that. It is on teachable.com, called Find Your Zen. That's $100, and it is 5 different modules, tons of worksheets, videos, things that you can read, interact with. In addition, we have a smaller one that's just called Mini Zen, which is just a little taste of that. And if you want that, that's only $25. Plus, on the Find Your Zen, on all of the things that we will do on teachable.com, there will always be a little sneak peek. So you can go on and you can watch one of the videos, you can read part of the things, see one of the download, free worksheets, things like that will be available. All right, enough about that. So I have been doing some CEUs and just finished a 19-hour certification course on mindfulness with children, which might be something else that we add as an online course in the future. But I wanted to share today some really great things that I learned that have been researched about the benefits of mindfulness. So if you did not know, when people are depressed and they're anxious, their amygdala, which is the part of the brain that sets off that fight or flight, it often is both enlarged and also more dense. Why? Because it's overstimulated. So what happens when often you're depressed or anxious is you are worried a lot about the future, or you're worried about the past, what you've done, what you've said. You kind of put things on the hamster wheel, and it goes over and over, and you really get lost in your emotions and sink down. Okay, that spits off that fight or flight. All right. So we know that when the fight or flight goes off, that you can fight, right? And that can be tension for some people. It can be anxiety for some people. You can run, which for some people is more anxiety, panic attack. You can also, we would say, play dead like a possum, which might be depressed or be very flatlined with your emotions. You don't really feel anything. You don't really feel alive. You don't have a response. And you can also frighten, as far as like kind of curl up and I don't want to be seen by the world or anyone. There's all sorts of different responses to that. All right. All of those really wear down your body. So what happens is that fight or flight, it goes ding, 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 like there's a house fire, but really it's just burnt toast, right? And so what mindfulness does is it helps to separate you, give you a little bit of space from yourself and your thoughts, which are not always truth, and yourself and your emotions, so that you don't get kind of lost and trapped in them and you can't get out. So you're living in fear, you're living in depression. So they did brain scans on people that had these enlarged and more dense amygdalas. And then they sent these people to learn about mindfulness. And then a couple months later, they did brain scans again, and they could already see that the amygdala was getting less dense and shrinking. Now, no worries, it's not going to shrink too much. There's very much a use to have that in the brain. But isn't that interesting scientific fact that mindfulness, which is something that is portable, it's accessible to everyone, it is free. You can obviously buy my course, which isn't free, but you can buy the course and then you have those tools for the rest of your life. You can share them with other people. And so it's just a really wonderful thing to know, is that mindfulness does work. It literally changes your brain. Studies also show this. Physicians that practice mindfulness, their patients report that they feel more trust. And since they feel more trust, they follow the recommendations of medication, etc., whatever it is, better than doctors that do not practice mindfulness. Now, my guess of why that would be is that the biggest complaint that I hear from a lot of clients about physicians is they say they don't listen, right? I'm in there for a 15-minute med check and it's not even 15 minutes and, they're not listening. They're not here with me. And that's what mindfulness is about, right? It's about slowing down, and I'm with you right now in this present moment. You have my full attention. And so I imagine that patients feel that. Plus, mindfulness is a lot about self-compassion and compassion to others. So therefore, their patients probably aren't just numbers and names on paper, right? All right. As far as people like myself, therapists, it is shown that clinical therapists that have mindfulness practices in their own lives, their clients actually succeed on goals faster than other therapists that are working with clients and they do not practice mindfulness. My guess of why that would be is because when you practice mindfulness, you understand how it brings peace beyond even chaos and things that are out of control in your life. And you get excited about it and you want to share it with other people. And that's how I am. And so I share that with my clients. And so now they don't get thrown off their square. They know how to breathe. They know how to get anchored. They know how to be present. They know how to separate again themselves from their thoughts and emotions instead of get trapped in them. And therefore they are able to set their emotions in a box, maybe distorted thinking and lies that they have about themselves or what's going to happen to them or how the world works, at least in their realm, and set it aside in a box. And then they're able to have a clear mind to complete their goals. All right. Another study showed this, is that it only takes one person in a household to change a household if you practice mindfulness. So this doesn't matter what the dynamics is. I don't care if it's dad and grandma that's raising someone, or dad, mom and dad, whatever it is, right? It's just one significant person in the household. If they produce mindfulness, guess what? Accidents in the house are decreased. That makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about it? What does mindfulness have to do with accidents? Well, it has to do with this. Mindfulness, you are more aware of what's going on. Again, you're in the present. You're not rushing around with like a chicken with your head cut off. And so rush, I never have enough hours in any day, Nancy. And so when you're more mindfully present, it makes sense that you would be less prone to accidents. Another thing is that when there's one person that is practicing mindfulness in a home, family members report that they feel increased happiness, increased peace, and increased connectedness between all of them. Whoops, I'm sorry. That was Honey here. She was pushing something on my laptop. Say hi, Honey. This is Honey, our little therapy dog. And she's a little sweetheart, and she often comes to the office with me. All right, so that's the home. And then let's talk about children. Like I said, I just finished a 19-hour course on that. Children that have mindfulness practice in their life, what happens is they learn to self-soothe. So this is really good because we can't be with our kids all the time, right? And maybe they're at school and they're really frustrated, right? They can't do the math, or they're really upset, because they're being bullied or somebody said something to them, right? I don't know what it is, but you're not there with them. And so a great gift that you can give to them is mindfulness, because a lot of mindfulness practices talk about self-compassion, and it's different than, saying, oh, poor me, right? It's not that. It's self-compassion is recognizing what they feel, their frustration, acknowledging it so they can care for themselves and they can release it even when you're not there. They can get centered. They can learn breathing techniques. They can use visualization, and they can figure it out themselves. And then once children learn self-compassion, we start to extend that as therapists and say, let's extend that to other people, okay? And even do activities like walk in someone else's shoes. And they literally get up and they're going to walk in our office. And they're like, walk like a movie star. Walk like you're the president. Like you're getting an award, right? Now walk like you're lost. Like you're sad. Like you're scared, like you're hungry, right? You're worried, that sort of thing. And so we start to work with them on having compassion for others. So you know what? Now they are more concerned, or they care, I guess, about when they accidentally, right? Maybe because of ADHD, they really wanted that basketball and they grabbed it too fast and their elbow slammed somebody in the face. And now they actually care about that. They actually care about other people's feelings. They have compassion when someone falls down or someone else is made fun of, right? And that's really, really important. And so it also increases children's sense of happiness, and it increases their sense of calm because they have tools when you're not there. And it also increases their attention. So they find that when children do a little bit of mindfulness before a test, they usually get higher scores on the test. Why? Because they're calm. I started this and I talked about a great thing of mindfulness is you find calm and peace in your mind even among the chaos, right? So when their fight or flight is going off and they're like, oh, brain freeze, I can't, it's blank, I can't think of one thing, and I knew I studied this for history and now I can't. If you calm the brain first, then there's clarity, even though that, that fight or flight was set off. They know how to calm it down and find that peace. And then obviously your memory is better, right? And so really great reasons to get your kids involved in mindfulness. And if you have a child and that child has behavior problems or they have attention problems and you would like them to get help, then please give us a call, or you can write down here. And if you have an experience in mindfulness, I would really encourage you today to share that with others. Please write it below. And if you have any further questions, you can give us a call or an email at hello@healthythoughtswellnesscenter.com. Our website is www.healthythoughtswellnesscenter.com. You can log in, become a member. It's totally free. As of April, we're starting one newsletter a month, and every newsletter will have an absolutely free download. So sometimes it'll be a video, sometimes it'll be a mindfulness worksheet. It could be a CBT, worksheet or video about a certain topic that Pete wants to talk about. But you'll get one free download every single month with your newsletter. So if you log into our website, then we will put you on that newsletter list. And don't worry, we're not going to send you a lot of spam and a lot of other things, okay? But we do want to do one newsletter a month. All right, terrific. So I thank you for watching me. Whether you're watching me live or recorded, please put your comment below. If you like this, then give me a thumbs up. You can also follow us, and Pete and I will try to come on live together next Wednesday, also at 1:30 for your half hour to spend with yourself getting some tips on wellness. Thanks so much and have a great day.